We also have a S27 information in regards to the cameras. Now, I put out a community post yesterday. Did all of y'all see that? Did all of y'all see the reported new look of the S27 Ultra? Weird. Now, the report that came out, so if you didn't know, Samsung's refreshing the look, the feel of the Galaxy S series. They've been stuck on a similar design for the since like the S20. Totally redo everything. And I'd been saying this for at least a year or two, that it's the S27 where they're going to revamp everything. Well, rolling into this year, we got leaks early. Even before this came out, we got leaks of the new design. Now, what they're essentially going to do is, you see these cameras that are vertical. What they're essentially going to do is swing it up here and have the cameras go across the top of the device. That's what we thought and have been thinking it was going to look like for the last, I don't know, 6 months, right? 8 months, something like that. And then yesterday, got weird news that just came out of nowhere. What did I tell y'all? Yeah, yesterday, remember during the live stream, I said these companies leak their own stuff because they don't want you to buy a competitor's device, a competing phone. Because Google's been leaking the hell out of their new upcoming Pixel, all while Samsung rolled out the red carpet for their foldables this year. You wonder why Google's, putting leaks out? Because they don't want you to buy a foldable if you're on the fence. They want you to say, yeah, I'm going to wait for the Pixel. That looks pretty cool. Well, Samsung counter-leaked, and apparently, look, I don't know if this is a real thing, but the new S27 Ultra looks like an iPhone. I'm sorry. It just does. It looks like this. Now, the S27 Ultra has 4 cameras instead of 3 cameras here. But the S27 Ultra has a island that goes across the top just like this, and it has 4 cameras instead of the 3 that you see here. And I was like, wait a second. Come on. Don't tell me. Because it seems like Samsung copies everything Apple does. It's really annoying at this point. It's really pathetic and embarrassing at this point. Like everything. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, you know what? On first thought, I was like, nah, they're not going to do that, are they? And then I was like, could be true. I was like, I was thinking to myself, they do copy everything Apple does. So, yeah, I could see them take on a similar design. Man, I'm still going to buy it. So I'm like, whoa, great. But it looks pretty similar. Now, that leak came from a rock-solid source. It didn't just come from Joe Blow in Indonesia. No, this came from an industry insider that said, not so fast on the design we all think that it's going to be. They said Samsung has changed their mind and is going with this one. I'm like, huh? What? Oh my God. Shit is annoying. So if they do end up with that design, you can join me and roast Samsung for copying Apple once again, because you can believe I will roast them. I'm still going to buy it. I'm a sucker for smartphones. What can I say? But man, that news came out of nowhere. I even had to double check the source. I was like, who's putting this out? And I was like, oh man, damn it. Let me see if I can show you, for those of y'all that haven't seen. Give me a second. Give me just a second. Let me pull up my screen share. Let's go with, and let me type in S27 Ultra. Yo, I'm on the wrong computer. God dang it. Alright, S27 Ultra design. Wait till you see this. What the freak is going on? What is this all about? Can y'all believe that? So the one on the right is not necessarily, I guess I need to find a better example. The one I'm talking about, the iPhone copy, is the one on the left, the silver one with the little island across the top. That's the one apparently they're going to go with. Now, we originally thought it was going to look similar to the one on the right, the purple one, even though that design is not really the one I was looking for, but you get the point. The sensors were supposed to be across the top, pixel-like. Even though it's not going to have a camera island around those sensors like a pixel, they were still going to independently place those sensors across the top. But apparently now, look, take everything with a grain of salt. Like, I tried to find out yesterday before I put that community post out to see if they've already started production, meaning started physically making these phones. I don't think they have. I think they're going to start making the actual physical devices right around November, early November, late October. So I guess technically, look, I'm sure Samsung has their mind made up right now, this very second, but man, I don't know. It's copycat stuff to me, but it looks like a Realme. Yeah, it does. You know, I was trying to find an Android comparison yesterday, and I was like, I know it looks like, I just didn't like go through the models, but in my head I was like, I know it looks like probably like a Chinese phone, but I couldn't figure it out outside of looking like an iPhone. Yeah, but you're right, it does take on a Realme look, doesn't it? The GT3 Pro. Yeah, it does. I know exactly which one you're talking about. That wouldn't be a problem if it looks like an iPhone. I mean, you're probably right. You're probably right. Now, that's why I love Pixel phones, the way they look. I think y'all have heard me say this before. Pixel is the best looking smartphone to me ever. Like I just love the way they look. Just an absolute classic looking smartphone. And everybody's different, right? But it's unique, it's different, it's beautiful, it's elegant, all the above, right? Now, and look, I'm going to cut Samsung a little slack, but not a lot, just a little bit, because there's only so much you can do as far as designing a smartphone, right? Because think about it. iPhone traditionally has had the triangular sensors, right? Where you got 3 sensors in a triangle, right? Now, you got Pixel, which everybody knows what that looks like. And then you have Samsung, which has had the vertical sensors, what do you call them? A teardrop or something like that. So there's really not, I mean, look, I'm sure you could get creative, and that's what Nothing does with their phones, but it looks like on the Nothing phone, somebody just was blindfolded and said, we'll put a camera here, we'll put a camera here, we'll put a camera here. That just looks flat out ugly. But, I mean, I guess there is different styles, but I don't know, there's much more you can do. So, I mean, it's not like I just don't want it to be blatantly copying iPhone. And that's the first thing I thought when I saw this. I was like, that looks like a freaking iPhone. So, yeah, we're going to get into OnePlus here in just a second. I just wanted to go over this news real quick. In fact, I'll pull up y'all's comments what's going on when we do that. Now, getting away from the Samsung, before we do that, I want to let you know what they got going on in terms of cameras. And let me see if I can find a better representation of what it was going to look like. Let's see. Here we go. This is it right here. So it was going to look like this right here on the left. That's what it was going to look, what we thought it was going to look like. And on the right is what it is reported it will look like. Now, which one of those do you prefer? Now, here's a new report that might go one way or the other depending on what you believe or what's true in these new reports. So there's a new report on 9 to 5 Google that the Galaxy S27 Ultra is ditching a telephoto camera for the sake of cost cutting, just to save a little money. Now remember, this is going to be close to spec'd out, or probably the most top of the line specs that Samsung has put in a device in years. Because it could have a bigger battery, but you are getting a 5700 milliamp per hour silicon carbon battery. So they're going to upgrade the battery to the newest tech. You're going to get the latest and greatest CPU from Snapdragon, a Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 6 Pro. Mouthful here. You're also getting brand new UFS storage 5.0. All the new Snapdragon, flagship Snapdragon CPUs this upcoming generation are going to have the latest and greatest UFS storage. So, because remember, this year they didn't put the latest and greatest in there. Now, I think I said the only thing we don't know what the latest and greatest specs out there or hardware is going to be is the display. We don't know if they're going to put that M16 OLED panel in there. Maybe, maybe not. If they're that worried about cutting costs, which they probably are, you see them removing a camera. So instead of having 4 sensors, it's going to have 3 sensors. So now that I think about it, that phone on the right there wouldn't make sense. Because if they're going to remove a sensor, it should only have 3 sensors, right? Because let me pull up this report. So before we say, oh my God, that's it, it's going to be this, hold your horses, because honestly, we don't know. And I'm trying to figure out if that leak makes sense or not. Because let me pull up this report from 9 to 5 Google. Check this out. 7 hours ago, S27 Ultra ditches a telephoto camera for cost-cutting measures. So the first few generations offered a 3x and 10x lenses, with newer models dropping that to a 3x and 5x. Now, I think they're dropping the 3x 10 megapixel sensor. Yeah, so it says apparently Samsung will ship the S27 Ultra with just 3 sensors, a first for the series, with a 10 megapixel 3x zoom lens being the one to go. Okay. So you're going to get a 50 megapixel 5x telephoto shooter. That's going to stay there. And the S27 Pro would have a 12 megapixel 3x telephoto camera in addition to the main and the ultra wide lenses. So here are the sensors that you're going to get on these devices. On the base model, you're getting a 50 megapixel, 12 megapixel wide, 10 megapixel telephoto. On the S27 Plus, you're getting a 50 megapixel main, 12 megapixel ultra wide, 10 megapixel telephoto. Looks like it's the same on the base and the Plus. And then when you get to the Pro and the Ultra, that's when you get the flagship specs, top of the line specs. The Pro's getting a 200 megapixel main. Now remember, that 200 megapixel sensor that we have all become used to on these phones, they're doing away with that 200 megapixel sensor and introducing an all new 200 megapixel sensor. So it's not going to be the same 200 megapixel sensor you've had on all these Samsungs for the last 5 years. All brand new. So you're getting on the Pro, this is the 6.3 inch model, 6.4, a brand new 200 megapixel main sensor. And this 50 megapixel ultra wide. The next sensor I think is 18 months old or just over a year old. And then you're getting a 2-year-old, which is still relatively new. It's a lot newer than what they have on here. And then you're getting a 10 megapixel telephoto 3x on the Pro. And to round out the Ultra, you're getting a 200 megapixel main shooter, 50 megapixel ultra wide, 50 megapixel telephoto 5x. So it takes me back to my main point. If they're only putting 3 sensors on this phone, well, then this one on the right here wouldn't make sense because, duh, it has 4 sensors. See what I'm saying? So I don't really know what they're doing. I mean, I know what they're doing, but I don't really know that's going to be the S27 Ultra. I still think, now they could replace, now if you really want to copy iPhone, take those 3 sensors, the 200 and the 50 and the 50, and place them on the back of your phone like that. What if Samsung placed their sensors just like on this iPhone? That would be hilarious. It would be so Samsung. Just blatantly copy Apple, right? At this point, you might as well. You do it with everything else. But what would they put there? Would it just be missing and it would be 1, 1, and then 1 off to the right? Or 1, 1, and then 1 off to the bottom right? See what I'm saying? One of those sensors would have to go out of those 4. That's why I'm still thinking there's a chance it could be the design on the left. That's what I'm thinking, right? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But stay tuned. I can promise you, if y'all are not subscribed, you're definitely going to want to subscribe. I'm going to be covering this extensively. Again, I'm going to get one no matter what it looks like. Well, I'll take that back. If it looks like a Nothing Phone 3, I might skip it. But I don't think any phone could be that ugly. But we'll cover this. We'll definitely cover this.